Well, factoring into today's video, we're doing 5-day forecast today, having to have a look at when it's 5 days across the British Isles. It's going to be a period of significant changes taking place. Around 3 weeks, we've had high pressure dominating through April, giving lots of dry, sunny and very warm, almost summer-like conditions. But the coming 5 days will see a change in the pattern. The high pressure is going to break down. It's going to allow low pressure in. So we're going to be turning a good deal more unsettled over the coming 5 days, particularly at the weekend. And also eventually it's going to turn quite a lot colder as well. In fact, it's going to turn colder by the start of next week for wintry conditions up in the north. So don't be surprised to see some snow if you live on high ground across parts of northern England and Scotland at the start of next week. A real change coming up. Now, if I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on most of the pages at gasoffice.com. Have a browse through the widgets, and if there's anything that you're interested in, please click through. You have to go and read the article, and because you're going from Gas Office to where the article is, we get a revenue fee on what you're doing. Thanks very much for doing that. The widget sits just underneath the weather video here on the homepage. Also to say about the ads, they open out within the content when you've watched and they'll close back up again. Thanks very much for doing that. We're only around 20 or 30 seconds in length, so not too long. And again, all these things are really paying for the website. They allow me to sit here and talk to you via Gas Office. So thanks for getting involved. And thanks for doing that. The charts that we're using for the 5-day forecast are coming from West Central Active. Also some charts at the end from the weatheroutlook.com. Find a link to both those websites on the links page. We are not using radar picture today because there's no measurable rain anywhere in the United Kingdom today. One of those very unusual days where it's universally dry from the Northern Isles to the Scilly Isles. So here's today's toxic pressure chart with high pressure over the country, but it is already showing signs of retrogressing in towards the Atlantic. Retrogression means it's going from east to west as opposed to the typical flow, which is west to east. So already this high pressure is coming under pressure. It's beginning to be stretched, and this is eventually what is going to break it down. But it still is over the country through today. So it's going to be a mainly dry day, almost a universally dry day, really, with good sunny spells going through. There'll be a little bit more in way of cloud in the east. You will notice that as the sea breezes sort of freshen around the east coast, dragging more in way of cloud. So yeah, a little bit cloudy there, but in the west and the southwest, good sunny spells came through. That's where the highest temperatures will be today. Again, reaching a summer-like 20 degrees, 68 Fahrenheit in some western and southwestern parts of the country. A little bit cooler in the east, but still pleasant enough at 16, 17, 18 degrees. Overnight tonight, the high pressure will continue across the country, but again, you see, but it is weakening. It's being stretched, and some of it, again, going up towards Greenland. So it's still in control, but it's going to be mostly dry overnight tonight. Maybe a shower across the northern east parts of Scotland, but generally it's going to be a dry night. More in way of cloud in the east, clearest skies in the west. That's where the lowest temperatures will be. Could locally get down to freezing again tonight in some rural western locations, but temperatures will hold up better, excuse me, in the east. Now, as we move through into Thursday, where you can clearly see that the high pressure is breaking down now. The high pressure is going off up to the north. It's becoming centred around Greenland. Also something going down in southeastern parts of Europe. It's still just about in control enough to keep it mainly dry, but there'll be a general increase in cloud on Thursday, and there'll be a scattering of showers breaking out for parts of Scotland and northern England as well. One or two of those could be quite heavy, but they'll be fairly well scattered, so you'll be unlucky to catch one, but quite sharp if you do. Otherwise, a lot of dry weather again for Thursday. You'll notice a general build of cloud, and that will limit the temperature somewhat. So getting up to around 16 or 17 degrees. Still very pleasant for a time of year, but a little bit lower than today. And then that's it. As we go through into Friday, the breakdown is taking place. The high pressure, you can clearly see what's happened. It's gone up to Greenland at around 1,045 millibars at there. It's also going down into southeastern parts of Europe, and in between, low pressure is beginning to develop from the Atlantic and starting to move in. So I think we'll generally get off to a dry start on Friday morning, but there'll be showery rain across Ireland and southwest England from the word go, and that will move erratically northwards, eastwards across the country through the course of Friday. Some of those showery bursts could be quite heavy. Won't be continuously pouring with rain, but sort of on and off as those showery bursts move in across the country. Temperature could still be up to 17 degrees in the east. Probably not till evening before that rain arrives into the far east and southeast. Out in the west, it'll be cooler at around 14 or 15 degrees. We go through to Saturday, and the low pressure is sort of a slack feature over the country, but watch out for this low down across the to the southwest of us, off the coast of the Bay of Biscay. That's sort of a developing area of low pressure, but it's sort of a weather front, a little bit complicated, but it's a weather front sort of strung out in the flow across the country, and it trails back to this developing low off the coast of the Bay of Biscay. That could move northwards and eastwards later on in the weekend. For Saturday, we're probably just looking at a showery day. Really, there'll be some sunny spells coming through. Quite a lot of cloud as well. Showery bursts on and off. Perhaps more likely in the north and the west. Not as many in the east. Temperatures somewhere around 15 or 16 degrees, but it'll be turning cold as this northerly begins to get going across the north of Scotland, so there temperatures falling into single figures. Now overnight, Saturday into Sunday, this low pressure could develop and move northwards eastwards across the country. So this is the chart that we're looking at for Sunday. We're looking at low pressure right over top of the country, gradually moving eastwards with time. So I think we're going to potentially have a very wet morning across England and Wales on Sunday morning. The transition of this and the timings of it still to be pinned down, but potentially very wet for parts of England and Wales on Sunday morning. Some of that rain as it hits colder air moving down from Scotland could turn to snow over the Pennines. It'll all start to push eastwards as we go through the course of Sunday afternoon, so the rain could linger on in the east all day actually, but eventually most parts will clear up and turn brighter from the north and the west. Sunshine and a few showers for parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, those perhaps turning increasingly wintry over high ground. Temperatures in the far south and southeast on the southern side of that low pressure could still be reaching 13 or 14 degrees despite the rain on Sunday. But really from the Midlands northwards, we're going to be in single figures. It'll be a significantly colder day with temperatures around 5 to 9 for most parts of central and northern UK. You will feel the difference on Sunday. And then as we go through to the final day of 5-day forecast on Monday, low pressure is still in control. Much colder air coming down from the north with that low pressure. So it's a case of showery bursts of rain really across the country. Those showery bursts probably turning increasingly wintry over high ground of Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England through the course of the day. Temperatures just 4 to 10. Feeling really quite cold indeed, and there could be a frost actually to start with, fairly widespread frost on Monday morning. Finally, have a look at the charts from the weather outlook so we can see the weather in your area over the next few days. Here we are for today. Loads of dry weather with plenty of sunshine, just a little bit more in the way of cloud in the north and the east. And that continues into Thursday as well. Maybe a shower breaking out across parts of Scotland and Northern England, but most places, again, will be dry on Thursday. But then the showery rain moves in from the west as we go through into Friday. That's the changeover day as the high pressure breaks down. Showery for Saturday. And then on Sunday, it could potentially be really quite wet indeed across southern parts of the country on Sunday morning. Notice that snow symbol there for Scotland. Some of that rain on the northern edge could turn to snow over high ground of northern England. Eventually it moves eastwards through the course of the day to allow sunshine showers back in. And then by Monday it's a showery scenario and significantly colder as well. So in summary, if you've been enjoying the warm, dry weather over the past 3 weeks, you've got a couple more days of it left today and tomorrow. Get out and make the most of it. It's all changed by Friday as it turns showery, and then the weekend and into next week, much more unsettled with showers and longer spells of rain becoming significantly colder as well. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.